Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Schindler's List. So Schindler's List is a movie that came out in 1993. This is its 25th anniversary this year, and for that they decided to re-release it in theaters. So for its quarter of a century anniversary, it was re-released in a theater, and of course I love seeing movies in theaters. I love the idea of going to a theater, especially when it's a movie as powerful as Schindler's List. So I went to go see it, all 3 hours and 16 minutes. And the story follows Oskar Schindler, who was a man that took a lot of Jews from their station in life and brought them to his workplace that was very unproductive and saved a lot of them. And it follows his life as he starts out as a Nazi and as he slowly degrades and sees more and more the atrocities that are happening around him, and as he tries to do his part to try and save some people. So Schindler's List is, of course, one of the most well-known movies that there is. It's so well-known. People love it. People call it one of the best films of all time. And when you get a movie that's considered that, it's really, really hard to review, because usually everything that's been said about it has already been said. If you try to say something that you've thought of, chances 100 other people have said it before you. So it's hard to come up with anything new for me to say about why I like Schindler's List. I ran into this problem when I reviewed The Godfather. I didn't know what to say about that movie. So with Schindler's List, I'm not really sure what I can say about it that is particularly creative, unless I talk directly about what I personally like about it that other people may not see or may not even agree with. I think Schindler's List is a really a special movie because it's not a movie that the average movie-going audience would enjoy. And the thing is, this is known as the best movie of all time by the average going movie audience. It's incredible to me when movies can do that. 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's a weird sci-fi movie, yet people really enjoy it. And same thing with The Godfather. Slow-paced, very long, but people love it. And I think that Schindler's List has that type of title because of how purely powerful and raw it was. What Steven Spielberg was able to do with a camera is something that you don't see very regularly. Despite the fact that this event, it was hardly documented, and, Steven Spielberg did not live through it, the realism that he depicts on camera is astounding. What he must have done to the actors, to the set designers, to the writer, to the producers, to everybody who worked on this movie, what he got to make the image on screen that looked so realistic and heartbreaking is absolutely amazing. This movie, honestly, it looks like documentary footage. And I think that's the reason that it's in black and white. It didn't need to be in black and white, but it was because it looks like documentary footage. It makes it feel like what you're seeing on screen is actually really happening. And that was terrifying, and that is the reason that this movie is so great. I would say that this movie is somewhere in between an arc plot and an anti-plot, and you probably don't know what those terms mean, but I'll briefly explain them. An arc plot is the type of movie where it's your basic, superhero outline. It's like, character faces something wrong at the end, they learn to fix it, they become a different person, they fix the relationships around them. Arc plots are what make up the type of superhero movies that we all love. And anti-plot is like the opposite. It's the consequences have no justifications. The lead character does not change from the start to the end. It doesn't have to follow any time. It can jump around a lot and be incoherent because it's an anti-plot. And I think that Steven Spielberg masterfully combined the ideals of an arc plot and an anti-plot, because the arc plot of this movie is obviously there is an arc. There is a character that we follow, and we see how he changes. But the anti-plot part of this movie is that our lead character is on screen for probably 20 to 30, maybe 35% of the movie. The other 65% is just scenes of the Jewish people being slaughtered. and Jews left and right being treated horribly and being shot randomly for speaking up against anything, and the type of cruelty that went on. Even if a Jew stopped and tied their shoe, there's a chance that there's a sniper far away that could just shoot them, and nobody cared about it. It's that type of horror and tragedy that Steven Spielberg displayed so realistically and in a way that was heartbreaking enough to truly represent the tragedy of the Holocaust, while also still being accessible and applicable to the average movie-going audience. And that's rare. That is a rare balance that not many movies can do. Not many movies can be weird, can have weird time limits, can jump around a lot, can have weird structures, can have an hour long of just scenes of people being devastated, and still be able to have an arc, and still be able to end with a changed character. And I loved how they did that. And the characterization of Oskar Schindler, I also really adore about this movie. The fact that from the start to the end of the movie, you can always see the man that he was at the beginning of the movie. But as the movie goes on, he becomes more and more of that man. And there wasn't a lot of development for him either. You don't know much about him prior to the Holocaust. You just know about him during what was happening. You know about his ideals and who he was as a person. And I really do enjoy that. I think Schindler's List is a masterpiece. I think that there's a reason that this movie is super well remembered. I don't think that it's a movie that is like one of my favorite movies of all time, because there's nothing personal about it to me, but I still think it's an extremely powerful movie. I think it's a movie everybody should see, and I'm so happy that I got to see it on the big screen. I will give Schindler's List a 9.25 out of 10. So that concludes my review for Schindler's List. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or what is your favorite World War II movie? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.